Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, I guess probably the only way to start off this video is by saying Chris Rock tried to warn ya. You didn't heed the warning.
Before I start, talk about Adam, the CNN people, you guys really gonna arrest Trump? Do you know this is only going to make him more popular? It's like arresting Tupac. He's just gonna sell more records.
He said don't do it. He stood in front of a crowd of yuppie, pompous, elitist Democrat leaders and told them, do not do it, you'll essentially turn him into Tupac. And well, it seems as though that effect has already started to take place. A new phenomenon has started, which I guess people are calling the hood for Trump. A lot of people are painting it as a bad thing, but I think it's an opportunity for a massive wake-up call moment. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, you know, I have to admit I never thought I'd see a moment like this. Here's Donald Trump headed to the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, where he was arrested and had his mugshot taken. And on the way, I guess it was a different scene than anyone could have expected.
I'll see it, man. Which one are you in, though? Donald Trump.
Now there's narratives, right? Trump supporters are a bunch of white, hillbilly, racist hicks. A bunch of crazy, alt-right, far-right, red hat crazy white people. Well, on the way to Atlanta, it was a little bit of a different demographic, and the people were cheering free Trump. So much for the narrative, huh? And you know, people are trying to paint this as a bad thing, but I don't know, call it copium, call it naive optimism. I tend to view these situations as opportunities to expand support rather than looking at the negative. I think Styx Hexenhammer had a great take on Twitter. He wrote, "Real talk, nobody is saying that Trump's mugshot will help with the black vote because of black people being thugs or identifying with crime. They're saying it's because he's been wrongfully prosecuted by an abusive legal system, a system implicated by the left for decades as being heavy-handed towards black citizens. And the implication is not often wrong, except in regards to BLM riots and things of that nature. However, right-wingers tend to be horrific at messaging and are accidentally saying dumb stuff that makes it look like they're claiming the former. The left is rightfully terrified that some of their, quote, help will wander off the plantation, but the effect will be blunted by the usual stupidity of conservatives and their constant tendency to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. They've also done this on abortion and parental rights on a repeated basis. And I think to a certain extent he's correct. You know, there's an opportunity here that shouldn't be squandered. The idea is not to market Donald Trump as a thug who got arrested, you know, thug life, thug culture. It has nothing to do with that. The idea is to relate to people's experience. The word that I'm constantly using, you know, moments like these humanize Trump. There's an element of vulnerability. You know, like I always say, man versus machine. It's Trump, one man, against this deeply corrupt, massive Goliath government structure. This is something that people of all kinds of different walks of life can relate to. And now you have a visual element to campaign around. All those people who in previous election cycles never vote, well, there's a way to maybe reach out to some of those people, in this particular case, within the inner city community, and find a way to relate to their experience and get them to the polls. Not in a manipulative way, the way Democrats do it. Head to the polls and we'll forgive your student loan debts. And then, of course, not delivering on these ridiculous promises, but rather getting people to the polls because you actually share a common interest. In this case, cleaning up Washington, highlighting the corrupt nature of these DA offices and these prosecutors. And in some states, a small difference can go a pretty long way. You know, in 2016, for instance, the reason Donald Trump won in a landslide defeating Hillary Clinton was due to him speaking directly to people who kind of gave up on the whole system. That working class, voiceless demographic is what showed up and got him elected. And in many cases, the lack of turnout from that exact same demographic is one of the reasons why 2020 was different. You know, it's not about pandering to a particular group and making your entire election strategy centered around going after the black vote. It's simply about narrative. The narrative itself will essentially do the work for you. It's about being authentic and honest and creating a messaging platform that speaks to all people who have their eyes open. You know, I know there's a lot of videos going around Twitter with some rather incoherent nonsense, or rappers like Chief Keef and Lil Pump supporting Trump, he good in the hood. I mean, sure, that's one thing, but for me, it's more sort of this sentiment.
This video is to every single black person out there. If you really want to f over this government that has f over your ancestors, if you really want to f over this government that helped kill Martin Luther King Jr., if you really want to help f over this government that killed Malcolm X, that killed Huey, and that destroyed the Black Panther Party, if you really want to f over this government, I'm asking you to do me a favor. Go vote for Donald Trump. Can't you see how these devils are running around here scared to death of this man? Because they don't want they evil, sick locked up. So black people, if you really want to piss these fucking racist demons and devils off, vote for Donald Trump. Because they've been fucking it up for us for the longest, and it's been them. Vote for Donald Trump.
You know, I think that's more the element that speaks to a large group of voters who have kind of lost faith in the system. People who see the corruption for what it is, who see that what they're doing to Donald Trump is no different from what they did to previous historical figures who got in the way of the status quo. Because it's actually kind of the same thing. It's simply about appealing to more voters. That's all it is. It's not about throwing away the base and going after another one. It's about bringing more people into that base. Again, in an authentic manner. I think that's kind of happening right now. There's a Fox News poll, which generally isn't so favorable to Donald Trump, conducted from August 11th to the 14th, and the numbers that they released are simply staggering. And this is before the illegitimate arrest and mugshot of President Trump. Support among black voters. From 2020 Fox News voter analysis, 91% supported Joe Biden, with 8% supporting Donald Trump. The most recent Fox News poll in 2023 shows 61% for Joe Biden and 20% for Donald Trump, meaning Joe Biden seems to be down 30 points, Trump is up 12. People say it's not significant, it doesn't matter, it's not the base, it won't have an effect. I disagree, especially in a place like Georgia, for instance. In a place like Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Those little shifts make a big difference. Look at Florida, for instance. A shift in Hispanic voting patterns basically made the state solid red. And I think the more this continues, the more people are simply going to be sympathetic to Donald Trump. And that's a good thing. The left has characterized him as this demon, so to speak. And when you buy into those narratives, or when that narrative is all that you know, it's all that you've been presented, it's hard to humanize him, it's hard to be sympathetic towards him. Now seeing the actions that they're taking, all of a sudden, seeing how far the leftist establishment or the uniparty establishment is going to not only stop him, but destroy his entire life and people around him, it's a whole lot easier to be sympathetic. It's a whole lot easier, in my opinion, to be more open-minded to previous campaign narratives that Donald Trump has uttered, like going after the deep state, corrupt Washington, his constant use of the word hoax or witch hunt. Now it starts to make a whole lot more sense. I think there's an opportunity right now to grab more voters that have simply lost faith in the establishment. And that right there, that narrative, that dynamic is, I think, Donald Trump's most powerful tool. It's all about wielding it. It's all about doing it properly. Now, obviously, an opportunity like that, the GOP establishment would squander in pretty much half a second. Donald Trump, however, he might be the perfect guy to really capitalize. We'll have to see exactly where it goes, but that's pretty much my base analysis on the current situation. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you on the next one.